For us, it is an honor to have you around here. Our wish is that the secrets of the sages of ancient India, taught by the renowned Yogi Sadhguru, be a powerful tool of self-transformation in your inner journey. Get to know our yoga course by clicking on the link that is in the description of this video and learn more.
Our book on karma has been overdue because the word karma has gone everywhere in the world, become part of almost every language. But what karma means, the level of misunderstanding and misinterpretation of this word is phenomenal. So I thought it's time to release a book on karma as a guide to craft one's destiny. Karma is not about punishment and reward. Karma is not about being sinful or virtuous. Karma is about understanding the legacy of information that comes with our birth and continues through our life, enhances itself to various levels and impacts every dimension of our experience. The word karma literally means action. That means, as the action that you perform becomes more and more conscious, your destiny also will become a more conscious possibility. That means essentially, you're going where you want in your life. For most human beings, socially, career-wise, they may be going where they want reasonably, but in their experience of life, a whole lot of human beings are not going that way. The level of suffering that one creates within oneself is largely because we are attributing our experience to various things. Karma means action. Action means my doing. So, my life is my karma essentially means I am the maker of my life. So, this book explores step-by-step possibility of how you can take charge of your destiny, how you can craft your destiny by being conscious about various levels of karma that you perform in terms of physical activity, mental activity, emotional and energy activity. Karma is being accumulated. If you bring the light of consciousness into these aspects, how this can be transformed, the methods and the possibilities and the consequences of this. This is what the book explores. It's my wish and my blessing that every human being should be able to craft their own destiny.
And learning how to consciously weave the tapestry of your future. So settle in, close your eyes, and let the wisdom flow. By the end of this audiobook summary, you won't just understand karma. You will have a roadmap to liberating yourself from its unconscious cycles and actively crafting the destiny you truly desire. But before we embark on this enlightening adventure, I invite you to hit that like button if you're ready to embrace a new understanding of life. Share this episode with anyone who seeks deeper meaning. And of course, subscribe to Vibe Audiobook so you don't miss out on future explorations of wisdom. Now, let's begin our journey into the heart of karma. Chapter 1. Karma, What It Is Not. Sadhguru begins by dismantling the popular misconceptions surrounding karma. Forget the idea of karma as a cosmic scoreboard, where a divine entity is tallying your good and bad deeds. This isn't about reward or punishment handed down by an external force. Instead, Sadhguru clarifies that karma is not a moral law, nor is it fate. It's not about predestination or a rigid script written in the stars that you are powerless to change. He emphasizes that this understanding has led many to a sense of resignation, believing they are merely puppets in a cosmic play. Imagine for a moment that karma is like a sophisticated software program running in the background of your life. Every action you take, every thought you entertain, every emotion you feel, they are all inputs into this program. And like any software, it generates an output based on the inputs. If you put in certain commands, you get a certain result. It's not about judgment, it's about consequence. Sadhguru uses the analogy of memory. Just as your body carries genetic memory and your mind carries psychological memory, he explains that your energy system carries karmic memory. This memory is a culmination of all your past actions, impressions, and experiences, not just from this life, but from countless others. It's an accumulated data bank that shapes your tendencies, your inclinations, and the very way you perceive and respond to the world. He differentiates between sanchita karma, the vast accumulated karma of all past lives, like a huge warehouse of data, and prarabdha karma, the portion of that karma that is allotted for this lifetime, determining your current circumstances, body, and basic personality traits. Think of sanchita karma as the entire library of books you've ever written, and prarabdha karma as the particular book you are currently reading and living out in this present moment. The key takeaway here is liberation from the misconception of karma as an external force. Sadhguru empowers us by stating that karma is fundamentally self-created. It's a system of self-imprint, where you are both the architect and the recipient of your experiences. This shifts the paradigm from victimhood to empowerment. Once we understand that we are generating our own karma, we can begin to consciously change the inputs to create different outputs. He also touches on the idea that karma is not about good or bad, but about entanglement. Every action leaves an impression, a trace, a memory. Whether it's a joyful action or a painful one, it still creates a loop, binding you to certain patterns. The ultimate goal, he hints, is to become free from all karmic imprints, to act without accumulating new memory, and thus attain a state of absolute freedom.
Chapter 2. The Making of Karma. Now that we understand what karma is not, Sadhguru delves into its actual mechanics, how it's created, and how it operates within our lives. He explains that karma is essentially memory, a profound and pervasive form of memory that goes far beyond what we consciously recall. This memory isn't just in our minds, it's embedded in our bodies, our energies, and even the very elements we interact with. Consider the simple act of eating. When you eat an apple, your body remembers the apple, breaks it down, and assimilates it. But beyond that physical memory, there's a subtler karmic memory. The way you ate it, with gratitude, with anger, with indifference, all contribute to this karmic imprint. Every sensation, every thought, every emotion associated with an action leaves a residue, a blueprint for future experiences. Sadhguru introduces the concept of the 4 dimensions of karma. Body karma, or kayika karma. This is the karma accumulated through physical actions. For example, if you consistently use your body to harm others, you create a certain type of physical karmic imprint that might manifest as illness or injury in the future. Conversely, using your body to help or create contributes to a different kind of physical well-being. Mental karma, or manasika karma. This is the karma generated by your thoughts and intentions. Thoughts are powerful, and repetitive thought patterns, whether positive or negative, create strong karmic impressions. If you constantly harbor anger or jealousy, you are shaping your inner world and future experiences with those very energies. Verbal karma, or vachika karma. The words you speak carry immense power. Words can build or destroy, inspire or deflate. The quality of your speech, whether it's truthful, kind, harsh, or manipulative, directly contributes to your verbal karma. Energy karma, or bhautika karma. This is the subtlest and most fundamental form of karma, arising from the very energy of your existence, your deepest intentions, and the fundamental vibrational quality you emit. This is less about specific actions and more about the underlying state of your being. He emphasizes that intention is paramount. Two people can perform the exact same action, but if their intentions differ, the karmic consequences will also differ. A surgeon cuts a body to heal, while an assailant cuts to harm. The physical action is similar, but the intent makes all the difference in the karmic blueprint generated. Sadhguru likens karmic memory to grooves in a record. Every action, thought, and emotion carves a groove. The more you repeat a certain pattern, the deeper the groove becomes. This is why we often find ourselves repeating the same mistakes or falling into the same behavioral traps. Our karmic memory pushes us down these well-worn paths. The liberating insight here is that while these grooves exist, we are not permanently stuck in them. We can consciously choose to carve new grooves, to create new patterns of thought, emotion, and action. This requires awareness and the conscious effort to break free from unconscious repetitive cycles. He stresses that karma is not a static ledger. It's a dynamic process of creation, constantly being shaped by your conscious and unconscious choices. Chapter 3. The Architecture of Destiny. Having understood the making of karma, Sadhguru now reveals how these karmic imprints fundamentally shape the architecture of our destiny. He explains that our karmic memory acts as a filter through which we perceive the world. It dictates our tendencies, our likes and dislikes, our inherent strengths and weaknesses, and even the types of situations and people we attract into our lives. Imagine looking at the world through different colored glasses. If your karmic glasses are tinted with fear, you'll perceive threats everywhere. If they're tinted with joy, you'll find reasons to celebrate. It's the same world, but your internal karmic lens determines your experience of it. Sadhguru states that the very structure of your personality, your software, is largely a product of your accumulated karma. It determines your emotional patterns, why some people are naturally calm, while others are quick to anger. It influences your intellectual capabilities and even your physical constitution. This isn't about blaming, it's about understanding the deep-seated origins of who you are. He introduces the powerful idea of prarabdha karma being the allocated karma for this lifetime. This is the destiny you are born with. Your family, nationality, physical attributes, and initial circumstances. This portion of karma is like the hand of cards you are dealt in a game. You didn't choose the cards, but you certainly choose how you play them. The crucial point here is that while your prarabdha karma sets the stage, it does not dictate the entire play. You have the freedom, the free will, to act and react within those circumstances. This is where conscious choice comes into play. If you keep reacting habitually, driven by unconscious karmic imprints, you simply reinforce existing patterns. But if you become aware and choose to respond consciously, you begin to dismantle those patterns. Sadhguru likens this to an individual living in a house built by their ancestors. You may not have chosen the house, but you have the power to renovate it, to change the decor, or even to build an extension. Your past karma provides the foundation, but your present actions determine the ongoing construction. He emphasizes that many people mistake this karmic influence for fate and resign themselves to it. This resignation, ironically, becomes another karmic imprint that reinforces their perceived lack of control. True freedom, he suggests, comes from recognizing the influence of karma and then consciously striving to act beyond its limitations. This means cultivating a state of constant awareness, where you observe your thoughts, emotions, and actions without getting entangled in them. The journey of transformation begins when you realize that while you cannot change the past karma that brought you to this moment, you can absolutely influence the karma you are creating right now, and thus reshape your future.
Chapter 4. The Problem of Identification. One of the most profound insights Sadhguru offers is that the root of our entanglement with karma lies in our deep-seated identification with our body, mind, and emotions. We mistakenly believe, I am my thoughts, I am my feelings, or I am this body. This intense identification creates a sense of individuality and separation, which in turn becomes the engine for accumulating more karma. Think of it this way. If you strongly identify with a particular role you play, say a parent, a professional, or a national identity, then every action, thought, and emotion associated with that role becomes intensely personal. When something good happens to you, the identified role, you feel joy. When something bad happens, you experience suffering. This emotional attachment and entanglement are precisely what create and deepen karmic impressions. Sadhguru argues that the self we perceive ourselves to be is largely a bundle of karmic memory. Our personality, our preferences, our entire psychological framework is a complex accumulation of past impressions. When we say, I am angry, we are identifying with an emotional state that is, in essence, a karmic imprint. When we say, I am happy, the same applies. The problem arises because this identification makes us reactive. We react to situations based on our existing karmic patterns rather than responding consciously. If your karmic memory includes a strong pattern of insecurity, you'll likely react defensively to perceived threats, further solidifying that insecurity. He uses a beautiful analogy. Your body is like a vehicle, and your mind is like a navigation system. You are the driver. But most people are so identified with the vehicle or the navigation system that they forget they are the driver. They let the vehicle run on autopilot, driven by karmic grooves, rather than consciously steering their lives. The path to liberation from karma, therefore, involves systematically disidentifying with these aspects of yourself. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless or disembodied. It means recognizing that these are tools and experiences, not the core of who you are. You have a body, you have a mind, you have emotions, but you are not them. This process of disidentification begins with awareness. By observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, by simply noticing them arise and pass, you create a space between you, the conscious observer, and them, the karmic expressions. This space is the beginning of freedom. When you no longer cling to a particular thought or emotion as mine, its power to bind you karmically diminishes. Sadhguru emphasizes that this is a gradual process, not an overnight transformation. It requires consistent inner work and a willingness to question the very foundations of your self-perception. But as you gradually loosen your grip on these identifications, you start to experience a profound sense of inner freedom, an ability to act without accumulating new karmic baggage.
Chapter 5. Ignorance and its Role. Sadhguru asserts that at the heart of our karmic entanglement lies a fundamental ignorance, not a lack of knowledge in the conventional sense, but an ignorance of the true nature of who we are and the mechanisms of life itself. This isn't about being unintelligent, it's about being unaware of the deeper dimensions of existence. This ignorance manifests primarily as a lack of self-awareness. We are largely unconscious in our daily lives, acting out pre-programmed responses and patterns without ever pausing to observe them. We operate on autopilot, driven by the inertia of accumulated karma. This unconsciousness is the fertile ground where new karmic seeds are sown and old ones continue to sprout. Imagine walking through life with your eyes closed, constantly bumping into things and then wondering why you're bruised. Our unconsciousness is akin to that. We act, react, and experience consequences, but we fail to see the causal link between our inner state and our outer reality because we are simply not paying attention. Sadhguru stresses that our suffering isn't caused by external events, but our unconscious reactions to them. A difficult situation might arise, but it's our anger, fear, or frustration that causes us pain, not the situation itself. And these reactions are deeply rooted in our karmic patterns, our accumulated memories and tendencies. Because we are unaware of these internal mechanisms, we constantly blame external circumstances or other people for our unhappiness, thereby perpetuating the cycle of ignorance and karma. He clarifies that ignorance also means operating under the illusion that we are separate from everything else. This sense of separation fuels the ego, which in turn drives actions aimed at self-preservation and self-aggrandizement. Every action born out of this sense of separation, this me versus them mentality, creates karmic bondage. True knowledge, he suggests, is the experience of oneness, of realizing that you are an integral part of everything. The path to breaking free from karmic cycles, therefore, is directly linked to dispelling this ignorance through heightened awareness. Sadhguru advocates for practices that bring a greater sense of consciousness to every aspect of life, from the simplest acts of eating and walking to the most complex interactions. He gives the example of anger. When you become angry, instead of identifying with it and acting out, can you simply observe the anger as a phenomenon happening within you? Can you notice the physiological sensations, the racing thoughts, without judging them or being carried away by them? This act of witnessing creates a space, a gap in the unconscious chain reaction, and begins to dissolve the karmic impression. The fundamental teaching here is that to transcend karma, we must first become aware of its presence and its functioning. Ignorance is the glue that binds us to its cycles. Awareness is the solvent that dissolves it. As we become more aware, our choices become more conscious, and our actions begin to flow not from compulsion, but from freedom.
Chapter 6. Actions in Awareness. This chapter marks a pivotal shift from understanding karma to actively managing and transforming it. Sadhguru introduces the concept of action in awareness as the primary tool for consciously engaging with and ultimately transcending karma. This isn't about stopping action, but about transforming the very nature of how we act. Most of our actions, he explains, are performed unconsciously. We eat, speak, work, and interact out of habit, compulsion, or reaction, without full awareness of the deeper implications or the internal processes driving them. These unconscious actions are what create and reinforce karmic imprints, like digging deeper grooves in a record. To act in awareness means to bring a heightened sense of presence and mindfulness to every action, thought, and emotion. It's about performing even the most mundane tasks with full attention, observing the process without getting entangled in the outcome or the associated mental chatter. Consider washing dishes. Most people do it mechanically, their minds elsewhere, perhaps planning dinner or replaying a conversation. But to wash dishes in awareness means to fully experience the warmth of the water, the feel of the soak, the sound of the plates clinking. It means being fully present in that moment, in that action, without judgment or distraction. Sadhguru emphasizes that the quality of the action is more important than the action itself. Two people can be involved in social service. One might be doing it out of a sense of duty, guilt, or desire for recognition, while the other does it out of pure compassion and a genuine desire to serve. The outer action is the same, but the inner quality, the awareness and intention, determines the karmic outcome. The one acting with pure intention is less likely to accumulate new karmic baggage and may even burn through existing karma. Sadhguru introduces the idea of karma yoga, the path of action. This isn't just about performing good deeds, but about performing any action with a specific inner attitude. The essence of karma yoga is to act without attachment to the fruits of the action. This means doing what needs to be done to the best of your ability without being driven by desires for reward, recognition, or avoiding negative consequences. Acting without attachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or irresponsible. On the contrary, it means you can act with total involvement and commitment because your focus is entirely on the action itself, not on what it will bring you. This makes your action far more potent and effective. When you act without personal agenda, your energy is fully available for the task at hand. Sadhguru provides practical advice for cultivating this awareness. Observe your breath, a simple practice of paying attention to your inhalation and exhalation can ground you in the present moment. Conscious eating, taste your food, feel its texture, notice the process of chewing and swallowing. Mindful walking, feel your feet on the ground, notice the movement of your body. Witness your thoughts and emotions. Don't try to stop them, just observe them without judgment. Through these practices, you gradually create a distance between yourself and your karmic patterns. You start to become the witness of your life, rather than being swept away by its currents. This witnessing quality is what allows you to act from a place of choice, not compulsion, thereby reducing the accumulation of new karma and beginning to dissolve existing karmic impressions.
Chapter 7. Burning Karma. The Path of Kriya. While acting in awareness helps to prevent the accumulation of new karma, Sadhguru delves into powerful methods for actively burning or dissolving existing karmic imprints. This is where the profound spiritual practices, particularly Kriya Yoga, come into play. He explains that karma, being a form of memory, holds energy within us. These karmic patterns are not just mental, they are embedded in our energy body, pranamaya kosha, and manifest as certain tendencies and limitations. To dissolve them requires working with the energy system itself. Think of karmic patterns as knots in a rope. Simply understanding they are there won't untie them. You need a specific tool or technique to loosen and release those knots. Kriya, Sadhguru explains, is precisely such a tool. It's a powerful sequence of yogic processes involving breath, posture, and inner focus designed to purify the energy system and accelerate spiritual evolution. Sadhguru clarifies that Kriya is not just physical exercise, it's a profound science of inner engineering. It works directly on the pranic energy system, reorganizing and intensifying the flow of energy in the body. This intense energy work begins to agitate and break down the stored karmic impressions, effectively burning them up. He likens the karmic body to a vast garbage dump. If you just add new garbage to it, new unconscious actions, it keeps growing. If you stop adding new garbage, act in awareness, it doesn't grow. But to truly clean it up, you need a powerful incinerator. Kriya is that incinerator. He creates an inner fire that systematically consumes the accumulated karmic memory. The effects of Kriya are profound. As karmic imprints are dissolved, individuals often report feeling lighter, more joyful, and experience a greater sense of inner freedom. Old patterns of thought and emotion that once held them captive begin to lose their grip. Physical ailments that were rooted in karmic patterns may also resolve. Sadhguru emphasizes that Kriya is not something one can learn from a book or casually practice.
It requires careful initiation and guidance from a competent spiritual master, guru. This is because Kriya works with powerful energies, and improper practice can lead to imbalances. The initiation ensures that the practitioner is properly prepared and guided to handle the intensity of the process. He also explains that Kriya is not a substitute for conscious action. It works synergistically with awareness. While Kriya burns through old karma, practicing awareness ensures that you don't accumulate new karma at the same rate. Together, they form a potent strategy for accelerating spiritual growth and achieving liberation. Beyond Kriya, Sadhguru also touches on other forms of devotion and service as ways to burn karma. When one acts with absolute devotion, with a profound sense of surrender to a higher dimension, or when one engages in selfless service without any expectation of personal gain, these actions also generate a powerful energy that helps to dissolve karmic bonds. The key in all these approaches is to move beyond the limited, ego-driven self and touch something larger than oneself. The message is clear. While living consciously is essential, for rapid transformation and to truly liberate oneself from the deep-seated karmic patterns of countless lifetimes, a powerful inner technology like Kriya becomes invaluable.
Chapter 8. Karma and Responsibility. In this crucial chapter, Sadhguru firmly establishes the link between karma and personal responsibility. He states unequivocally that understanding karma is not an excuse for passivity or fatalism. It is a profound call to take absolute responsibility for everything in our lives. If karma is self-created, then by definition, we are entirely responsible for our experiences. This isn't about guilt or blame, but about empowerment. It means that there is no external entity or random chance dictating our suffering or joy. We are the architects. Imagine you've built a house brick by brick. If the roof leaks, you don't blame the rain. You take responsibility for how you built the roof. Similarly, if there's discomfort or joy in your life, Sadhguru urges us to recognize that we have, consciously or unconsciously, built it through our karmic actions and choices. He clarifies that true responsibility doesn't mean becoming overwhelmed by the weight of the past. It means recognizing that the power to change lies within us. If we created it, we can undo it or reshape it. This perspective liberates us from the tendency to blame others, circumstances, or even God for our predicaments. When you blame, you empower the external and disempower yourself. Sadhguru emphasizes that the moment you take 100% responsibility for your life, even for things that appear to be external misfortunes, you reclaim your power. This doesn't mean you cause every earthquake or traffic jam, but it means you take responsibility for how you experience and react to these events. Your inner world, your response, is entirely within your domain. He gives the example of encountering someone who behaves negatively. An unconscious person might react with anger or resentment, creating more karmic entanglement. A conscious person, taking responsibility for their own inner state, might choose to respond with compassion or simply observe without getting drawn in. This conscious choice breaks the karmic chain. This understanding of responsibility is also key to manifesting what we desire. If you want to create a certain future, you must take responsibility for the present moment, for your thoughts, emotions, and actions right now. Waiting for external conditions to change is a form of shirking responsibility. Sadhguru encourages us to adopt the mantra, "My life is my making." This isn't a simplistic affirmation, it's a deep commitment to being the master of our inner world, irrespective of outer circumstances. This doesn't mean life will become easy or free of challenges, but it means that the challenges will no longer cause internal suffering because we choose our response. He differentiates between blame and responsibility. Blame is about finding fault outside yourself. Responsibility is about recognizing your own capacity to respond. The ability to respond is responsibility. When you realize you have this ability, you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a co-creator of your reality. The ultimate freedom, according to Sadhguru, lies in taking such profound responsibility that you cease to accumulate karma altogether. When every action is a conscious choice, when there is no unconscious reaction, then you act out of freedom, and these actions leave no binding imprint. This is the path to becoming a truly liberated being.
Chapter 9. Dissolving the Self. This chapter delves into the ultimate goal of working with karma, dissolving the very sense of self that creates and accumulates karmic memory. Sadhguru explains that as long as there is a strong sense of a separate individual I, karma will continue to operate because the I is the central repository and engine of karmic memory. The self we normally identify with, our name, our roles, our personality traits, our opinions, is essentially a construct, a bundle of accumulated information and experiences. It's a karmic identity. The more we cling to this identity, the more we reinforce the mechanisms of karma. Imagine an intricately woven basket. Every fiber, every strand represents a karmic memory, a past experience, a learned pattern. The basket, as a whole, is your identified self. To dissolve the self is not to destroy yourself, but to unravel the threads of this basket, to see that it is not a fixed, solid entity, but a temporary assembly. Sadhguru makes a distinction between the limited, karmically bound self and the boundless, unconditioned self, often capitalized to denote the universal consciousness. The journey of spiritual growth is about moving from the former to the latter, to realize that your true nature is beyond all karmic limitations and personal identity. He suggests that the path to dissolving the self involves cultivating a deep sense of egolessness and inclusiveness. When you experience life as one with everything around you, when the boundaries between me and not me begin to blur, the karmic memory associated with that sense of separation starts to dissipate. One powerful way to achieve this, Sadhguru teaches, is through devotion, bhakti yoga. When you offer yourself completely to a higher dimension, whether it's a deity, a guru, or the universe itself, you dissolve your limited identity in that process of surrender. The I that accumulates karma starts to melt away. This isn't a weakness, it's a profound strength that allows you to act without the burden of self-interest. Another path is through dispassionate action, karma yoga, as discussed earlier. When you act without attachment to results, when your actions are simply what needs to be done, without any I involved in the outcome, then those actions do not create new karmic imprints. The I that usually claims authorship and ownership of actions begins to recede. Sadhguru explains that the dissolution of the self is not about becoming a blank slate or losing your individuality. Rather, it's about expanding your sense of self to encompass everything. When you identify with the entire existence, then there's no longer a small I to accumulate karma. The karmic burden drops away because there's no longer a distinct entity to carry it. This process can be both exhilarating and challenging, as it involves letting go of the very structure that has defined you for so long. But it is also the ultimate freedom, the state of mukti, or liberation, where you are no longer bound by the cycles of birth and death, action and consequence. The message is clear. True freedom from karma is not just about managing it, but about transcending the very mechanism that creates it, the limited, identified self. When that sense of individuality dissolves into a larger awareness, karma simply ceases to exist for you. Chapter 10. The Ultimate Freedom. In the concluding chapter, Sadhguru paints a vivid picture of what ultimate freedom from karma truly entails. This is the state of a liberated being, someone who has completely transcended the cycles of karmic entanglement and lives in a state of unburdened joy and profound inner peace. He describes this freedom not as an escape from life, but as an enhanced engagement with it. A liberated being is not passive or inert. They are intensely alive, fully involved in every moment, but without any sense of personal binding. Their actions flow effortlessly, purely in response to the moment, uncolored by past memories or future anxieties. Imagine a person dancing through life, but their feet never touch the ground enough to leave an imprint. They are moving, engaging, experiencing, but they are not accumulating new karmic dust. Their actions are like water flowing over a lotus leaf. It touches, but never clings. Sadhguru emphasizes that a liberated being is not necessarily someone who retreats to a cave. They can be actively involved in the world, leading nations, raising families, or pursuing creative endeavors. The difference lies in their internal state. They act without the doership, without the sense that I am doing this. Their actions happen through them, rather than being driven by their individual will or ego. This state is characterized by absolute choicelessness in one sense, and absolute choice in another. Choicelessness because there is no longer a conflicted mind trying to decide. Action simply flows from the highest intelligence. Absolute choice because every action is now a conscious, unconditioned response, not a reaction driven by karmic grooves. He clarifies that being free from karma doesn't mean you don't experience life. You still feel emotions, you still have thoughts, and your body still goes through its natural processes, but you are no longer identified with these phenomena. You are the witness, the space in which everything unfolds, rather than the thing unfolding. Sadhguru likens it to watching a movie. You can be completely immersed in the story, experience joy, sorrow, excitement, but you always know it's just a movie on a screen. You don't jump into the screen and try to intervene. Similarly, a liberated being participates fully in the drama of life, but with the unwavering awareness that this is not me. The ultimate freedom, he concludes, is not a destination to be reached, but a state of being to be cultivated. It's the realization that you are not your body, not your mind, not your emotions, but something vast, timeless, and boundless. It is the realization that you are the source of your own creation, and therefore you have the power to consciously craft your destiny. This liberation is not about avoiding problems, but about transforming your experience of them. When you are free from karmic entanglement, even in the face of challenges, there is an underlying current of peace and joy that remains untouched. You become truly free, free to live, free to love, free to create, unburdened by the echoes of the past or the anxieties of the future.
And there you have it, a profound journey into Sadhguru's Karma, a yogi's guide to crafting your destiny. We've explored how karma is not fate, but a self-created memory, how our identifications bind us, and how awareness, responsibility, and powerful inner technologies like Kriya can dissolve karmic imprints. The core message is one of empowerment. You are not a victim of your past, but a creator of your future. By understanding the mechanics of karma and consciously engaging with life, you can untangle yourself from unconscious patterns and craft a destiny of profound joy and freedom. Remember, this isn't just theory, it's a practical roadmap to transforming your life from the inside out. Begin by bringing more awareness to your actions, thoughts, and emotions. Take absolute responsibility for your inner state. And if you feel called, explore the deeper dimensions of yogic practices. Thank you for joining me on Vibe Audiobook today. I hope this summary has ignited a spark of transformation within you. If you found this insightful, please like this episode, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to Vibe Audiobook for more journeys into wisdom and learning how to consciously